Welcome back to Redneck's Dirty Hands. I'm Pete. Today I'm here with my good buddy Jim and supervising as always. We got Deer on. So today we're gonna venture back. A little while ago, our buddy Remington dropped that Jag off there. Now, I'm sure you guys seen the video. If you haven't, go back and check when we went to a Peterborough Sled there. Jim, with his superior negotiating skills, bought a Skidoo Olympic, 1971, I believe, off a Snowmobiler TV for $30. So, Remington saw that video, and Remington scored this for an even better deal than we got. He got that for free $99. So, we had it. He brought it in, wanted us to get it going. We're going to try and get it going with your $30 hauler there. And unfortunately, we did a compression test on this one, and one cylinder was lamer than a paycheck. We had 120 on one side, 60 on the other. And we all know, two-stroke, you need at least 90 to run, right? So we're going to revisit this one. We talked to our buddy Ryan, Peterborough Cycle Salvage, Cat Shack Peterborough, and he hooked us up with, we got spare jugs, we got some pistons, we got gaskets, we got seals, we got everything that engine needs to be a strong, healthy little boy. So I say we pitter-patter, get at her, and tear into this Jag, eh?
Let's get at her.
We first were going over this one in the original video there. Thought this was like an 80, 81 or something like that, but on closer inspection on the side tag here, she's worn down pretty good, but you can kind of make out 1977 on there, which I think would make it a 78 for the date of it. It's too bad that's worn off there, but for the age of her, she's a survivor, the track doesn't look too bad on it. The hood's not all busted up. I mean, the windshield's, she's a little bit cracked, but I got a feeling I may have one up in the tickle trunk there. So, I mean, we might be able to pretty her up, but we got to focus on getting this sweetie up and running. So lift the hood on that 3000, eh?
Whoa.
No, she's a sweetie. Oh, and we're trying to up the production quality here. So we got these fancy lights. Oh, there you go. Look at that.
Now I can see.
Jeez, I'm going to have to get like 20 of these for around the shop. All right, so why don't we start with, let's revisit the old compression test. We'll start fresh. Okay, we got her rocking and a rolling, Jimothy. So, pull both bogies out of there. And just to remember, she's not locked up or nothing. Yeah, hold on to it, would you? Just check for spark first.
Yeah.
Do you remember which one was the low one?
Most likely be this one, because it's always this side normally.
Always the PTO
I don't
side?
remember. I wasn't here, remember? I was at
You were
Cat
getting parts for this
Yeah.
at the Cat Shack.
That's right.
All right, you got her?
Yeah.
So, wide open throttle, 5 good tuggies.
61.
61. Oh, it's gotten better over time, eh? All right, let's go back to this one here. Okay, Jim, hole number 2.
130.
130. Well, we're gaining on that one. Whatever we're losing over here, we're making up for over here. All right, let's now. Obviously, it's got half the compression on that cylinder as it does this one. Maybe just from setting the rings of stuff. A lot of people are commenting, thinking that's probably the issue. We could drop a tiny little bit of oil down there, give her some tugs again with the compression tester. If we bump up like crazy, it could be a stuck ring. You got a little bit of Arctic Cat 2-stroke oil there.
Yeah, that's right.
Dribble. Don't need a whole lot. You got to get it in the hole.
Yeah. Try that. Okay.
What do we got?
Jumped up pretty good, but then it stopped. It stopped there on like the 3rd or 4th pull.
Okay, so we hit 60 fairly close to the first pull.
Yeah.
Got up to 75 or 80, so it did come up a little bit. But
More oil.
no, yeah, just fill her with oil, right? So no matter what, we gotta tear her apart. So let's grab some tools, let's dig into her, get that motor out and on the bench, and pull her apart. Okay, so first things first, before we go too far, we want to pull the whole motor and reseal the whole thing. You know, we've got crank seals and we got all the gaskets, jugs, you know, pistons, all that stuff. But she's got a Comet clutch on there, and I don't know if we got to pull her for that, Jim. So we'll see if we got to pull her. If we don't, then maybe today all we're gonna do is just pop the cylinders off and do the top end, eh? Okay, we got to rummage through our... I did pick up a bunch of pullers off my buddy Farmer, but I think they're all for newer stuff, you know. Not stuff built in this century, not that, you know. She's a bit of an old girl, this one, so... let's see. So, I don't know, like, I got this one from Farmer. Says 08 plus cat on there, and this is not 08 plus. But, you know, this is the clutch bolt out of here. So, I mean, the end of this is skinnier than the threaded section, and the length of it, you know, thread engagement is the whole length of this bolt. So that's gotta mean that this part is sliding into the crank end and not buggering up the threads. And she does thread in there. So do we risk the biscuit and give her some ugly duggas and see what happens? I mean, Remington doesn't have a cent invested in this, so if we bugger it up, you know, we'll just buy him a beer or something.
Do it. And Cat Shack's got lots of clutches there.
Yeah, but I mean, if we bugger up the threads,
crank?
Maybe did they have a crank?
Yeah, because he had a couple seized motors there.
Oh, seized her salad?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're giving her then. Oh. That's tight, man. I mean, it's going. Let me just double check to make sure the regular bolt still goes in too. It's threading in. You should have had the camera turned around on your face. You're like, so it's still threading in. So maybe we should put some lube on the threads here, Jim.
Good minty Loctite going in there, boys.
Oh yeah. I wonder what this one's like.
Supervisor D, you're on.
I think we got it, Jim.
Something like that.
Okay, so now we'll have to call up Farmer and we'll need a new 08 plus cat one, because this is now a 78 Jag one. Because I think those threads are just
Gone.
They're just tweaked a little bit, eh? But it worked. So
Nice one.
that is what you call a nice one. So we're doing the whole show. We're pulling her right out. We're gonna split it, put new crank seals in it, new jugs, pistons. This thing's gonna dangle. So I guess the first course of action is we got to undo the motor from the mount there. So it's those two, and then there's two more rubber mounts down on the back side there. They might be a little bit tricky to get at, eh? Would have been nice to just reach underneath it and undo the motor off the plate, but like I can feel the bolt right there, but she's tight access, so that's gonna be hard to get at. No, what do we got here? Exhaust spring, anyone? She's got treasures buried down here, Jim. That's a puck.
Yep.
Is that a brake? That's
Brake puck.
Hey, that's why the brakes don't work. Yeah, might as well pull the exhaust. Exhaust has to come off anyway, so we'll pull it off. Got to pull the intake off because it's spread to both cylinders there, and then gives us a little more room to finagle. It's pretty simple. There ain't a whole lot going on here. I mean, you got the exhaust, the intake carb, and then just a couple of plugs, and this thing is out and on the bench, and you know. We'll have opportunities to have lots of beer breaks, but we're not gonna take any. I think this job will go pretty quick. You're getting the exhaust. It's just two plugs over here for the electrical, and then we got the pulse line for the fuel pump here.
I wish the new sleds were this easy to work on.
Right. And just a clamp for the carburetor. Now we are gonna clean the carb on this. As Nutter would say, eh? Clean the carbs!
Gotta clean the carb.
Yeah, clean the carbs. So, I might as well undo the choke while we're here. I mean, we're already here. Now, same thing. Once you undo the choke there, make sure you flip it on. That way, it holds the plunger on there. If you just let her dangle, you pull it out and the thing will flop. You lose this little end in the spring, and then you're spending the rest of the day looking for it. So, we don't want to do that. Pop the slide out of here, dangle that off to the side. Then we just got a couple of 12 millimeters. Ooh. I mean, she's cutting apart pretty nice, Jim. Although, I think Remington's buddy was saying, like, I think they melted down, was it this one? Yeah. Or this one? Like, they replaced cylinder, like, I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
So,
Understand the cat.
right. Wow, oh, listen to you over there. Hey, might be CF Moto now, who knows?
I seen that too.
Yeah, people have been talking.
CF Moto.
Well, because Arctic Cat apparently, you know, selling off at a business or whatever, and then they announced all that stuff, and then somebody was saying that CF Moto started sponsoring the snowcross races,
Yeah.
which kind of, because that's what Arctic Cat was doing all the time, right? They were the main sponsors.
They were, yeah.
So now if CF Moto's taking over, then maybe that means CF Moto's buying Arctic Cat.
CF Moto's gonna have their own snowmobile.
I mean, hey, CF Moto, if you need an ambassador, we'll rep her.
Those CF Motos, my buddy has a 600 brand new and a 400 brand new. They
Oh, yeah.
seem to handle in the mud and all that good.
Well, look at the smart ass mofo. That is a CF Moto. Just like so. Oh, nice one. High performance. All right, so intake's off, exhaust is off. You're working on the bolts down there. Jeez, I feel like literally 5 minutes and this thing's out. So you got the two off the motor plate, but there's two more over here. Now they're like next to impossible to access here, but down underneath, up in there, there's two nuts for those mounts. So I'm hoping I can kind of wiggle in there with the gun and zip them free. I think this thing has definitely seen some love over the years, Jim. Like, these springs are all new looking.
New, yeah.
Yeah. What's it look like there? I'm turning it.
Keep going.
Just fucking snapped off, Jim.
Just snapped off, yeah. Nice one.
Nice one. You dirty. Well, we
Well,
might as well go
snap the other one off too then.
Right, we might as well go 2 for 2.
Get her, snapper. How you doing down there, Joe?
Oh, I got her, Jim. Here, I'll take you in for a view. I'll show you. Ugh. So yeah, that one snapped off. That one finally did come off, but it was a bugger. And the problem is it's not a straight shot. The cleats cover half of the stud there, so you can't really get straight on it. So just, you're constantly on an angle to get her off, but they're both off. All right, motor should lift out now, Jim. We got everything unhooked.
Oh, we're gonna take the recoil.
Oh yeah. Never ever leave home without your handy dandy Swiss Army knife. That's been in there since Christ was a cowboy. We're just gonna tie a knot in her for now. A loose knot, we don't need it to be too tight to undo. So now, in a perfect world, oh, pull my pants up. Oh, you bugger. Zip tie. The zip tie. Okay. Definitely lighter than your average. There's no way I could pick up the motor in your mama. Like, look at this. So, the Spirit is on the bench, but this thing, I think it is a Spirit. She's a ghost, man. And I think I know why she's low on that side, Jim. Take a look at that crank seal. Tell me if you can see it. What's your guess on that?
Oh. She's a little wonky, eh?
Yeah, and that's been sitting out like that for a long time. So, I mean, this thing must have been a screamer because it would have been running lean, like, right? Like, I'm surprised it's not sea salad. First things first, we might as well pull these guys out, whatever they are, get that plate off of there, and then I'll pull the heads and jugs off. We'll have to pull the recoil, get inside there. When Remington first brought it here, it was running, but wow, I've never seen one pushed out like that. I got the motor on the bench there. Maybe I'll set the camera up on the tripod. I'll get pulling it apart, and then there's a mouse house down in there. We may have to evict all them, so if you want, you can clean up. We might as well try and make this as nice as we can for Remington, right? If we're gonna have the engine all dialed in and running good, might as well clean it up in here. I think his plan is, wants kids to be able to rip around on this thing.
Polish it up.
Pretty sure he's gonna ride it more than them, but pitter patter, let's get at her. Just like so. And pull the recoil. Oh, what do we got? Some 10 mils. And then we're gonna have to pull this guy off, so we're gonna have to take this cage off and then get our bolt puller, pop that magneto off. Okay, so I got my snap-on bolt grip set here, so we're just gonna thread these guys into the holes, and hopefully with a few ugga-duggas, she pops out of there. Just about lost the tip of my thumb there. Tickety-boo. Alright, so I popped the magneto off there and almost lost the tip of my thumb doing it. So it is a lot of force on there. You definitely need a bolt grip kit to do this job. It is impossible to do it if you don't. So now that we got that off, we're just going to pull this keyway out of here. Just like so. And now with that off, we got to pull this plate off of here, and you can kind of see there's a bunch of notches up on here, and then there's one notch up there. So that's how you crack those Allen bolts loose, and then you can adjust this to set your timing and all that. So we'll mark it so we know which one. It's a good thing I'm videotaping this because I can go back and watch the footage. We got to mark that line to line up with there. So I've marked the stator plate there and at the top. So now got my impact driver with the Phillips on there. She's spring loaded, so when you hit the back of this, it'll crack it loose. There's a Phillips head screw holding the wiring on there. And then switch over to an Allen key. This is I think this is a 30 seconds. Get onto there, do the same thing. Just like so. So now, we gotta get at those guys and pull this housing off. Alright, so impact driver, no, look at the twist on that. So that's not working. This one, I got another one, but that's not the right size. It doesn't grip tight into the screw heads. So I've got a pair of vice grips on a good Phillips screwdriver here. So we're gonna hopefully hammer on it and twist at the same time and get them in. Oh!
Get it?
And one.
Well, how many more we gotta get?
Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, shit.
Okay, now you keep hammering it. Hammer it, not me, eh?
Yeah, I'll try that. That or broke.
I got her.
Ready?
Yep. We got her.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, D-Ron. So now we can continue. Let's see, these are the guys here. They're little cap screws. I don't know if you can see that. So if you strip the head on that, you're buggered. You got to drill them all out.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's when you call Remington up and say, just pick it up.
Yeah, come get it.
It's junk. Come off of there. Oh, this seal was pushing out too, Jim.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see, out on the top side. See that here? Look. She's sticking out here. She's in down there. This one sticking out here, in down there. That is not right. So you might be wondering, like, why you got to try and get this off, you know, that recoil and stator housing. Well, because we're going to be splitting this case, and it's two halves, upper and the lower half. And you got to have this off of here so we can separate it. So now that we got that all off, we can pull the cylinder heads off, we'll pull the cylinders off, get the pistons out of there, and then we'll split the bottom. Oh, we got a special treat with this one, a homemade, there's the wrong nut on there, and it looks like there's half a dozen or so washers stacked up on there, so there's something sketchy going on here, Jim. Fish all these washers out of here. A stack of 6 washers. Look at that. Nice one. Okay. There's definitely firing on this one. Not firing on that one. Oh, and we're missing a little bit of the top of the piston here, Jim. Yeah. Exhaust side is just starting to burn away on her. And that would be because those seals are dangling out of the case. Alright, so now we'll pull these nuts off the cylinders so we can pull them right off. And they're not even tight, Jim. Like, literally. Like, I got put no effort into cracking these loose, so this thing was just a sweetie. Okay, so I put it back in the vise. This cylinder was cranked down nice and tight, so not sure what the deal was with that, so we're just gonna lift that one off there. Oh, and there's the carnage right there. Well, I guess in a sense it is a stuck piston ring, Jim. Yeah, she seized her salad. The piston was leaving the chat, that's for sure. That right there, that's what you call Chernobyl. She was melting down, so not so good. This cylinder, yeah, all roughed up and everything. I mean, sometimes you can bring these back with a little bit of muriatic acid, eat the piston off of there, and then give them a honing, you know, good to go again. But we've got a donor jug right there from Peterborough Cycle Salvage, so thanks, Ryan. Okay, well, we got it in the vise here. Might as well, I just got a little hook tool here. Go and grab the circlip for the piston. Oh, the wrist pin here. Take that little guy out of there. And this is where D-Ron's little baby hammer comes in handy. Lift her right up. Pull the needle bearing out of there. Tickety-boo. Little 3/8 extension works perfect for getting those piston pins out of there. Now that the cylinders are off, I just flipped it upside down, and it looks like we got a mixture of 12 mils, 10 mils, and 9/16 on here to undo. So we'll start cracking all them loose. I'll probably just go from the center and just work my way out in a circular pattern, and we should be good to go. Well, that ain't got the power to do it. All the bolts are out. Now we just got to give her a tip-tap tippy and see if we can separate it. This just like so. There we go. Got her separating. These are like machine surfaces in here, so you don't really want to get in there and be prying on it with your screwdriver. You want to work it from the side. Just like so. Now we got the engine split apart. Pull the crankshaft out of there. Maybe. Oh, bugger. There we go. We're definitely gonna have to give this a good cleaning. Alrighty, so we've got the engine all apart. I had to take off for a little bit, but Jim, you got her all cleaned up and ready to go, eh?
Yeah, I hope so. Got all the gaskets off, but man, they were stuck on there.
Yeah, sometimes it's a pain in the butt, and get a razor blade and scrape all the surfaces off and clean, but we'll get at her. We'll get her back together here now. Christina and I had to head out to pick up some of our new merch there. We got the RNDH logo on the long sleeve. Some of you have been asking, so if you check out our website, www.rednecks-dirtyhands.com, these will be on there. So now we can pitter patter and get back to work. The only other thing we got to do is clean up the crank ends here, because that seal there was all sitting all cockeyed, hanging out on an angle, and it's been wearing funny on the end of the shaft here, so we're gonna have to clean that all off. And you could tell, like, this thing had to have been screaming demon going lean, because this seal is harder than Japanese arithmetic. So yeah, no bueno. With these, you definitely want to put the safety squints and safety glasses on, because these wires here like to come flying out and stick right in you. So okie dokie artichoke. Alright, Jim. Now, the only reason we use the wire wheel arm, the only reason I do, is I could have used the emery cloth and scrubbed it up, but it would have put grooves, little scratches and all that in there, and the whole idea of a seal is to seal. So this is nice and smooth, cleans it up, got rid of all that ridge that was on there from the old one, and if you give that a little rub there, Jim, you see how smooth it is, eh?
Oh, that'll feel nice.
Hey, take it easy. You and the shaft need a little bit of alone time. You already got the cases all cleaned up, and you were wise enough to pull all the little pins out, keep them separate. Otherwise, those there, like if you look at the bearings, they got all these little indents on there, right? And then you got corresponding holes in the case. So what those pins drop in there, and then locks the outer race of all the bearings. So only the inside spins, not the outside, because the whole point of a bearing is you want it to be rolling free. You have to hold one side, so that way it stops it from spinning and slipping in the case. So it's very important to make sure you put those back in. I'm not used to the long sleeve shirt. I gotta pull up my sleeves, Jim. We've got our new seals. We got some Moto seal for the case halves. We got a crank. We got some cases. We got a bunch of bits and pieces. Let's get this sucker back together, eh? Like I said, because this stuff, these are machine surfaces, you don't really need a lot of goop on there. We've got the gasket maker on there. We put all the little pins in where they're supposed to go. I got the seals, rubbed a little bit of 2-stroke oil on the seal surface just to lube it so it's not a dry startup and whatnot. And we'll put a little bit of oil inside after we get it set down in there. But you want to make sure you put your seals the right way. This is the inside with the little steel spring in there. That's got to be going this way. So we already got that one slipped on there. We'll slip this one on here. I put a little bit of right stuff on the outside of this seal just because I love that stuff. It is definitely named right. It is the right stuff. So they do have, when you're doing it, come in here, Jim. There's tiny little marked little dots. Shows you the upright position. So then as you, like I got these ones are locked in. I think those ones are locked in. But it looks like she's sitting down. The seals are touching. If you look down here, Jim, seal's bottom in. It's perfectly flush. Same over here. That seal's perfectly flush all the way down. Now we gotta drop the other case half over top. You can't really get it wrong. Smaller bearing, bigger bearing, smaller bearings, bigger bearings. So just got to go that way, Jim. And then this side's got dowel pins and all that jazz, so lines up nice and even. Make sure your seals are all flush. Everything's looking good here. I'd say we're good. Now we just got to put all the bolts in, Jim.
Nice one.
Joking. Okay, Jim, so we got all the goop on there. And we got it. We might have put a little bit too much in some spots. She's dripping a little bit, but what do you do? So we're just going in a circular pattern. Like I said, I'm sure there is a torque spec for these things, but I'm just going by feel here, Jim. Years of experience. I know when my elbow clicks when to stop, eh? See?
That's just the age.
Right? So, I mean, yeah, you probably should look up if you can find a torque spec for it, but I mean, she's a 1978 Jaguar. She's gonna be nice, tight and right. Look how nice that is, all tight. The seals are in where they're supposed to be. Golden, Jim, we're golden. This thing's gonna be dangling in like an hour. Okay, so we're sitting up right on the bench, and that is rolling smooth, nice and free. So, I mean, now that we're here, we could just drop a little bit of two-stroke on the rods down there for the needles and all that, you know. Oh, yeah, she loves it. We only got one new piston, didn't we?
One new one and new old stock from Cat Shack.
Oh, that's right, yeah. So we got a new Kimpex here, which is for this sled. You get a new circlip with it. Nice looking piston. Rings, and there should be a wrist pin in here somewhere. Yeah, we did get old stock Arctic 340, 71 to 75, but we weren't sure if this was going to be the same. So, I mean, it's a Kimpex as well. I mean, aside from this one having the cool coating on the skirt there, they basically look identical. I mean, bore, they look the same that way, but the skirts just a tiny bit longer on this old one. I don't know, does that show up on there?
Yep.
So yeah, so I mean, maybe that's the difference between fan cooled and liquid cooled, or air cooled and liquid cooled, or whatever. The skirt on there's a little more beef to that one. So I mean, we could shave her down, or I mean, our one side was 120 psi compression, so we could just leave that one side, maybe steal the rings that came in this box, put them on our old piston, and then new one on this one, right?
Well, that's just it.
Well, if we don't, we won't, eh? One thing we didn't get was new needles. I mean, these ones are fine, right? Remington, just fast forward through this part.
I thought the new piston and rings came with that.
I thought it did too, but apparently,
Nope.
not so much. So I just got the cap of the oil jug here filled with oil, so we're just rolling those guys through there. And I mean, these ones, they feel smooth and fine, so it'll be fine, Jim. So our pistol, they got an arrow on the top. Arrow goes to the exhaust side. And which side is the exhaust side now that we're looking at this on the bench? This would be the front, which would be the exhaust side, right, Jim?
That's correct.
All right. Put a little bit of two-stroke oil up in here. All right, so I'm gonna put one clip on one side of the piston first. So I'll do it on this side here. So we're gonna get it clipped in and started. This is where you shoot it across the room because they're spring loaded. And then you'll never find it ever again. Already getting my new shirt dirty. All right, so just like that, we got that clip in there. I don't know if you can see that, Jim. Now you don't want the open end of the clip to be in these grooves. You want it to be in the land, hidden in there, so it can't poke out and then fall out, and then your wrist pin moves, and then tears your engine to pieces. Kind of line her up and send her home. Push it all the way up against that clip. And you take your other one. And then this is the one where when you're doing it like this, you gotta be really careful that you don't drop it and it goes down into the abyss. Because if it gets wedged in there and you can't get it out, then you gotta take it all back apart and make sure you find that, because when that gets into one of them bearings, game over. I don't know if anybody's got a trick for curling these clips in, a special tool maybe or something that works out pretty good. Let me know. It's always a bit of a struggle with these things, I find anyway. I think we're good, Jim. On to the next. We're reusing this pistol. I just ran it through the wire wheel just to clean her up a little bit, get some of the carbon off there, and it's got the arrow on there too, so she's pointing forward. We reuse the clips from that piston, just so, you know, we don't want that pin coming out. And we're obviously reusing the rings on this one. We were going to try and use the rings from that other piston, but they were thicker, so no bueno. I mean, this side had 120 psi compression, so it should have 120 psi compression again once it goes back together. So these things, there is little pins pressed in to the ring lands there, so the groove of the rings will land and go around that pin, so we should be good. I got that one sitting there. So this side here, we got to roll around. And then we got these rings here. You don't want to spread these things too far and bugger them up, right? Get them wrapped around into the groove. Then the pins right here. Make sure it springs in and out nice and free. It's looking good. They do have a little, I don't know if you can see that, Jim. Do you see the little mark on the left side there?
The K.
Yeah, so that's gonna go to the top. And then same thing, give her a squeeze. Beauty. We should be golden. Then we just gotta clean that out of there. Put our base gaskets on. Drop them on. We don't even need a ring compressor or anything like that. We just use the taper on the bottom there, drop it on, it'll be mint. A little bit of magic 2-stroke oil up in here to help assist. Rub a little bit on there. And as long as you got your rings positioned properly to where those pins are, it's usually not too bad. You can drop this guy over top and just pinch it with your fingers. I mean, there's no way you can get this on if the rings aren't in the proper groove, because it'd just be too darn tight, you know what I mean? But you do want to be careful. You don't want to chip or break a ring while you're doing this. And you gotta hold your tongue right, eh? Okay. One. Alright, I got that one. Just 2 nuts holding it down there, and then I'm just gonna lube up this side. We'll get this one on there. Hopefully it goes on just as good. Am I not holding my tongue right?
No, it's just going to tell you that.
Come on.
Yeah, you got your tongue held right there.
Is that it right there?
Yeah.
There we go. Just like so. This one though, one of the studs went along for the ride, so we'll crank that one down first. We put her back in the vise just to hold it so we can crank these down. Now, yeah, there's torque specs for all this stuff, all the bolts on this motor, but if you look, there's no way you're getting a ratchet or a torque wrench on these guys, so swear tight. Use your man hands and just make sure they're all snug. They were pretty loose when I took this thing apart, so we're gonna make sure they're not loose when it goes back together. I mean, don't be freaking Hercules and, you know, snap them or strip them, but just common sense. Tight. And then look. Now, oh, beauty. Oh, you can hear it. You hear that? It's got compression without even, no heads on there. Would you say that looks good?
Looks good on camera.
All right. We'll go with that. So you can get a torque wrench on the cylinder head bolts. I Googled it, you know, to see, you know, to try and be right. I know we'll get it in the comment section. You gotta torque it, right? So the Google says for 78 Jag 340, 14.5 to 18 foot-pounds, which I think my 3/8 torque wrench only goes down to 20, so she's getting 20. That's that. She is back together, aside from, you know, putting the recoil cover, the stator, and all that stuff back in. But that's basically the motor rebuilt. So now we just got to put it back together and put it back in the sled. So from here on out, it's basically just a complete reversal of, you know, watching me take it all apart. Now you just gotta, you know, watch the video a couple of times and go step by step and put her back together. All these cap screws, get them in tight and right. Same thing. Can't really torque them because they're a Phillips head screw cap screw, so it's where you work out your forearms. As tight as you can go. That's as far as you, that's how tight it goes. Then we just gotta feed the wires back up through the hole in the backside here. There's the mark there. Yep. Lined up. It was the second groove in from the right side, looking at it here. So we're bang on there, lined up there. And then I put another mark down here. So we should be good just to put the Allen bolts in, tighten it up, lock it down there, and then, and in all reality, when we pull the cord, it should start. Okay, keyways in. Make sure there's no, these are all magnets, right? So when you got her loose hanging around the bench, stuff can get stuck in there, and then if you don't notice, you just go jamming her on, it's gonna get wedged in here, and you're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna try and pull it over and it'll be locked up or something.
Oh, is she all buttoned up?
We're getting there. We got the mags back on, got the dog or whatever for the recoil. The wires are poked through there. Might as well put the recoil on. And can't really mess it up. Says Spirit, you just put her on how you read it. Yep, yes sir.
Okay.
You got a hold of her there, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, we're on the last motor mount bolt to get her all set back in. Tight and right. Alright, so. Is it beer break yet?
It's been beer break for about an hour now.
Alright, cut. We might have to have a few beers to get this thing looking better sitting in here, because if you stand back and look at her, she's crooked. Crookeder than a politician in here. So we put a level, like it's sitting on the ground, and I'll guarantee the suspension on this thing probably isn't mint or set to specs, but she's pretty, yeah. So we need it to be about there, which means this side's got to go down, and it looks like it needs to be twisted a little bit that way. Yep. So, I mean, we don't have to get crazy technical, but we don't want it to burn a belt out the first little trip. So either we drink up some beers until this looks better.
That's a good idea.
Or we fix it and then have a beer.
Let's do both.
No.
All right, let's do both. Let's have a beer and think about it. Play that ditty, you little kitty. A little bit of a beer break, and frustration over, you know. Thinking juice, we got her in there tight and right. A little, you know, we were watching, because we do sit out in the shop here some nights and we watch YouTube videos and whatnot. And I'm sure some of you have seen Nutter's speed shop there. He's always working on the old irons and stuff. And he, you know, the other night, he just so happened to be checking his engine in there with a level. So, you know what, we put the level on the jack shaft and the clutch on the engine. They look about the same to me there, so now it's time to take another page out of Nutter's and...
Just gotta clean the carbs.
Just clean the carbs, Jim. She's tight, right? And you got the little mouse nest that was underneath the engine out of there too, didn't you?
I sure did, the little bastards.
All right, well, and thanks to the magic of movie and editing and all that, she's done. She's all in there tight and right. We even painted the exhaust, and then in stock in our inventory of goodies in the tickle trunk, brand new exhaust springs. They just had hose clamps on it when we took it all apart. But when I was digging, when we first were pulling this out, I was digging underneath the engine. We found one of the original springs in there, so I guess he dropped it down in the abyss. Was like, carry on with my life, just put some hose clamps on there. So we got her tight and right, carburetor's on, engine's in. Hopefully this thing's a runner, everything's plugged in. Put a little bit of 50-to-1 pre-mix. She's mixed, good to go. I guess just gotta give her a bit of a blow job. Get the fuel to the carburetor.
I heard you're good at blowjobs.
Christina.
Yeah, you're all right.
I see fuel.
Oh, I taste fuel.
Oh, yeah.
See, blowing, people are gonna make all the jokes they want, but blowing into the gas tank pushes all that fuel through the lines, through the pump, into the carburetor, so you're not tugging your guts out just to get that first spark up and fire. So we're not 100% sure if this choke cable is the right cable. It seems like it's out of adjustment, but we got her threaded in there anyway, so I don't know. I'm sure it had spark in the last video. We haven't even checked it, so we're just pull it, man. We got it lifted up on the back, so she ain't gonna drive away, but runner.
What's that, like third or fourth pull?
Yeah, and she sounds good.
Yeah.
She's ripping on 2 cylinders. We gotta adjust the carb, set her in a little bit, but I think she's gonna dangle. All right, she's a little smoky in here right now. I think it's time for another beer. Well-deserved beer. Oh,
Nice one.
there you go, Remington. He's gonna sit there and say, because we still got the barter system going, but because I got Turby off him, so he's been trading off for labor.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit left on there. Consider us even now,
Well,
buddy.
I think he owes us.
Yeah, at least a case of beer on top, eh? All right, well, it's the next morning after a bevy or two last night, and we got the old Jag sitting outside on the stand. She's stone cold. Honey, you're our new test pilot today.
You think I can wrangle this weapon?
We might as well have a cougar ride a Jag, eh?
I think I'm still a puma.
Okay. So we got the motor all done on this one there. So I say all that's left is we got to give the people what they want. A little bit of riding around footage, baby.
Okay.
Do you think you can start her up? Grip her and rip her, baby. Oh. One pull wonder right there. Rev her up. I tell ya, that's a nice one. Needs guard work, eh? This thing is slower than molasses in February. I had to give it the rowboat just to get it rolling. I can smell like sawdust or something burning. So we're pulling this muffler off here. We're gonna run her straight pipe for a minute.
Huh.
I think something's going on with that muffler. Ooh, those are hot. Don't let me forget those springs are on your mama. We can't take the muffler out because the Y pipe goes up above it. So you gotta take the Y pipe off to get the muffler off. So we just got the muffler undone and backed out. She's gonna be loud.
Oh, yeah.
Take two.
That's 100 times.
That's running better. Oh my
That was
God.
a turd before.
Remember when you, me, and Jim were in the shop when we first sparked her up and it was like, I smell sawdust. Yeah, there's a mouse house. There's gotta be a mouse house in that muffler because this sumbitch came to life as soon as we took that off.
Kicked the renters out.
Just goes to show you, like anybody that's working on your sleds too, I mean, yeah, we got a lot of time in here. We pulled the motor out, rebuilt it and all that, and then, you know, go for a maiden voyage and bleh. Like literally, I had to rowboat it with my foot just to get this thing going. I was like, it's like it was only running on one cylinder again. I was like, no way, it's all fresh stuff. I mean, I'm sure I'm gonna get it in the comments. You know, we didn't gap the rings in there, but I mean, we checked them, the gap on the rings and everything was fine. Compression's good. the freaking muffler on this thing. Plugged solid. As soon as I unbolt the muffler on there, woke it up like Sleeping Beauty. So, I mean, she's screaming demon, you know, with that muffler off of there. But, oh yeah, just dangling now. Like, no problem. I can rip donuts with it, whereas before, couldn't even rip a fart with it. One of those things that you just overlook. You know, just we assumed. You know what they say about when you assume, eh? Make an ass out of you and me. So we thought that, you know, that muffler would have been fine. But when we did first spark it up last night, it was like you could smell like sawdust or something.
Burning.
I was like, there's nothing on here that should ever smell like sawdust burning.
I mean, we did question if it was a family burning in there, but
Definitely a mouse house in there, like Nutter would say. Little bastards. So now we got to figure that out, or put your earplugs on. I mean, your helmet will muffle it. You still want to take her for a rip?
Sure.
All right.
We'll try.
All right, and just to verify, we might as well do her after we got it running. What do we got?
Yeah, 120.
120, which is what we started with on that side. Here you go, baby. Ready, Freddy?
Ready. Oh yeah. 120. 119.
Oh yeah, don't you know?
yeah.
So the rebuild's good, eh?
Guess you know what you're doing.
It's not my first rodeo. So this video's been going on for a bit. We rebuilt this whole motor, thought it was done, took it for a little bit of a testy, found out it's not done. So we just got the muffler unhooked right now. I mean, I'll tell Remington, maybe put a shout out to Ryan at the Cat Shack there, Peterborough Cycle Salvage, see if they got, you know, a muffler for this, or we gotta sit there and poke rods and blow air in there and blow it all out, evict those little bastards out of there, or cut the end off of it maybe, I don't know. But for now, I want to see this thing rip, and I think what I want is, I want to see you ride it, baby. So this job is almost done. We got a successful test ride out of it. How was it, baby?
It runs really good and drives really good, surprisingly. It starts better than the Vixen, so it's like bonus points for me.
It does start better than the Vixen. And one key that why it runs so much better, it's got no exhaust on it, just a straight pipe, eh?
After you took that off, it ran better.
I think once we get a new muffler on there, we'll have to do some digging around. It'll run a little bit better with a proper muffler on there instead of just the straight pipe. But for now, she's running good. She's looking not too bad, Jim. You did a pretty good job cleaning up the old Jag, but this windshield just ain't gonna do. It's lived its last day. Thankfully, when we got all the parts years ago from Pickering Marine, Al Thompson, when he had an auction, bought a bunch of stuff off of him, and up in the tickle trunk of stuff we got, ta-da! Brand new in-stock windshield, Remington, you're one lucky son of a gun. So, you're definitely gonna owe us a case of beer when this job's done, eh, Jim?
Or two.
So the only problem is this thing had a bunch of old Phillips screws in there with the rubber grommets that were all swelled out in there. Rustier than the Titanic, so we had to just cut them all off, and we need a way to hold on there. Come on in, Jim. we got some holes in the windshield. Everything lines up, but the holes in here are pretty big, and I don't have any of those, the screws and the rubber grommets in there. What I do have a bucket full of is just regular rivets. But obviously, hot dog down the hallway in there, that ain't gonna go. The head of it's perfect size to cover, you know, the windshield there, but not so much there. So we need some washers, and you know, it's a pain in the ass finding hardware every once in a while. So one thing that I got lots of that the world just doesn't use anymore is pennies. So I just took a drill bit and drilled a hole in a stack of pennies. Probably the cheapest washers you can find. These, they're only a cent each, eh? Okay, let's get it popped in here. Let's open this up, baby. Might be pulling her a little bit on the tight side, but I think it's gonna work. This is definitely more than a one-person job. Okay, you ready? I mean,
So far, so good.
it's working. Good old rivets and a penny washer. Nice one. Just slip the penny over top of the rivet. Make sure you don't rivet your fingertips. And because they're coppered, soft, sucks right into the rivet there. Oh. Blind man would love to see it. Been going, oh, we got UPS out there. I think that's the drivers for Naders.
Nice one.
Better go see, make sure they leave it, eh? Okay, hold on. Time out. We don't want them to be like, oh, we tried to deliver it and nobody was home.
You even had to get the card out.
Hey?
You even had to get the card out.
Yeah, freaking customs and duty and all that. Came from the States, eh? Better. Oh. Mint, if you squint.
Just a wee haircut.
All right, Vanna White, display this, sweetie, would ya? Look at this.
God.
Oh, we gotta buy stock in that SC1, eh?
Works great.
Little bit of elbow grease from Jim and some SC1, and this Jag definitely looks tight, right, and clean. Like, Remington is gonna be over the moon with this thing. What's that, babe?
It's gonna go do like 10 miles per hour faster.
Oh yeah. Like, it looks nice and clean on the inside too. Obviously we gotta replace that muffler or gut it out, blow it out and all that for him. So he can actually rip it and dangle this thing. But from start, from soup to nuts, this thing's done, eh?
Perfect.
That windshield looks mint on there, and you can actually see through it. The other ones are probably yellower than the windows in the bingo hall. Oh, you get back on there.
Oh. I was trying to see if you'd actually see through it.
You want to trade the Vixen in on her?
No. I mean, it starts better, but she's not as comfortable.
Well, it's definitely a good looking rig. And thanks to UPS for that delivery, we just got something for Nader's sled there. So hopefully these are going to help him become a little bit faster in the quarter mile, eh? That's his original shaft. That's what's going on there. There's a wee bit of a size difference, eh?
Nice one.
If you want to check out that project, Nader's 800, we're trying to make the fastest trail sled kind of deal going. You got to check our membership page for that, eh? Alrighty, well, as always, thanks for tuning in. This video was definitely a fun one to do. It was fairly involved, you know. We pulled out the motor of this one here, rebuilt the whole thing, new crank seals, you know, one new piston, some used rings, new rings, you know, whatever it took to get this thing back up and going. And I think we have successfully given Remington 340 reasons to smile. So this, you know, this Jag works pretty good. We're definitely still gonna, it's not over, we still gotta replace the muffler on it, but at least we know it runs, it's running on 2 cylinders there. And if you ever put a motor together, or you pick up an old sled and you try and get it running, and it's like really boggy and, you know, runs good on the stand, but won't drive anywhere, check the muffler. Might be a mouse house in there, eh? Little bastards.
The little bastard.
But as always, thanks for tuning in. I know this video's it's a longer one, but you know, a lot of you say you like the longer videos, so here you go. And if you made it this far, thanks for sticking to the end. And we appreciate everybody, you know, reaching out, going to the website,
rednecksdirtyunits.com. I'll write it in the video.
Checking out our merch, you know. In the video, we got those new shirts with the RNDH long sleeve tees. We got the good hoodies, the beanies, the hats, stickers, you know. I don't know if we could put a she dangles one on this one. I mean, it goes. I don't know if it actually dangles, but she works pretty good. But, and if any of you are interested in helping out the channel, there's the super thanks down at the bottom of the video there. You know, that's a direct way to donate to help out the channel so we can keep reviving the old sleds and buying Go Fast parts for Jim's shock.
We need all the help we can get here.
Right, we got some projects going. We set up the membership program, so that's another way if you guys want to join the membership program. It's like $4.99 a month. Supports the channel directly, and we'll be doing projects like Nate's, you know, the 800 there. See if we can make that thing go fast. We'll be putting the drivers on it, redoing the diamond drive. We'll be building maybe the Apex on that channel, and maybe get some podcasting, some cold beers going, and shoot the breeze with some of yous. But as always, take her easy. Cheers.
Cheers.